Today, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office was intentionally attacked and ambushed by a man determined to kill deputy sheriffs. How did we get here today? We received a 911 call from the suspect's mother that her adult son, who lives with her, was acting irrational and violent. He was kicking in doors throughout the house, and she was in fear for her life. So she asked for deputies to please come to the scene and help her. The first two arriving deputies arrive on scene here in the Heather Lake subdivision. To paint a more clear picture of where we're at, in the Heather Lake subdivision, at the end of a cul-de-sac is where he lives, our suspect's mother lives with his mother. The first two arriving deputies pull down the cul-de-sac and park in front of the neighbor's house to the right of where our suspect lives. They get out of the car. They see the suspect sit in the driver's seat of the car. They see that the car's running. They go over to try to make contact to assess the situation and see exactly what they have at this point. They try to establish a rapport. They try to de-escalate the situation. He wants nothing to do with the deputies. He won't roll the window down. He won't open up the door. He won't even engage in conversation. Instead, he puts the car in reverse and he leaves the scene. I said here a couple moments ago that this was intentional. This suspect was free to leave. He was only a threat to himself. He was gone. When I talk about being deliberate and intentional, he chose to return to the scene. He drives back to the scene. Now two other deputies have arrived at the scene because they have learned of his violent history, his violent past, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. So they're parked at the end of the cul-de-sac. Our suspect comes back at a high rate of speed. Matter of fact, as he's passing the two deputies, he gets so close to them, and if you look at the video, it looks like he struck one of them. Fortunately, he didn't. They have to jump between their two patrol cars to make sure that they're not struck by this suspect. Seconds later, as they're able to come from behind the two cars and exit back in the street, we can tell by the body cam footage and some of the ring cameras here in the neighborhood that he continues to deliberately accelerate. Now, he could have pulled in the driveway to the left. He could have went home. Instead, he aimed his car, which we know when we talk about weapons, we can talk about a lot of different things that people can use as weapons. He chose today to use his car as a weapon. These deputies are off to the right. They're out in the roadway, I should say off to the side of the roadway, parked. They had themselves parked about 10 feet from their vehicle. These deputies never had a chance. They didn't have a chance to get out of the way. They didn't have a chance to do anything. He's accelerating at such a high rate of speed, and he strikes both of them. Corporal Carlos Brito has suffered the most serious of injuries between the two deputies. His leg may be amputated. Deputy Manny Santos was also struck by this gentleman who was using a car as a weapon, and he also has suffered some significant leg injuries. I'm being told that it's a bilateral break in his leg. That's all I know at this time. The reason for the delay of the press conference is I was trying to get a better update on their medical conditions. Unfortunately, all I have is to tell you that they're both in surgery right now. I can tell you that Corporal Brito, his injury was so significant as he got trapped between the two cars as he was getting out and struck by this individual, that a piece of his femur bone was stuck in the cars. The surgeon asked, as she was going in doing surgery, that she requested that bone. Fortunately, they're at Tampa General Hospital. They were medevaced. They're doing everything they can to save their lives and save their legs. They asked for that bone in whatever procedure they're attempting to perform to save this deputy's life and leg. So I have to tell you that our partners at Hillsborough County Fire Rescue were here within moments and immediately took over the two other deputies that were on scene, that they performed life-saving measures. As this suspect gets out of his car and nonchalantly starts walking towards the house, the two deputies who were also there as backup approached him and were ordering him to the ground, were issuing arrest commands. He ignored those commands. They both deployed their taser. Fortunately, it was effective. He went to the ground and they were able to secure him without any type of further incident. One deputy who stayed with him to maintain custody, care, and control of our suspect. The other deputy ran to his car real quick, grabbed his trauma kit, ran over to Carlos Brito, deployed a tourniquet, and was trying to comfort him. You could imagine the type of pain that the two of them were in. We couldn't move either one of them. Moments later, like I said, our partners at Hillsborough County Fire Rescue came and continued and took over these life-saving measures until they were medevac to Tampa General Hospital. As you could imagine, these deputies' lives are changed forever. Our suspect is Ralph Boozy. He's 28-year-old black male. He's been arrested 5 times, 3 felony charges and 14 misdemeanor charges. Matter of fact, an arrest of note was back in 2017. He was a suspect of a hit and run. Our deputies were able to make contact with him, and he punched one of our deputies, struck one of our deputies with his fist, and struck them in the facial area. He was placed under arrest. He was placed in the backseat of a car to be transported to our jail. In 2017, he made a statement from the back of his car that he hated law enforcement and that he was going to kill a deputy sheriff. He was almost successful here today. Thankfully, regardless of how injured they are, the recovery that they may face, both deputies are alive. You could also imagine the trauma that this agency is enduring right now, that our sheriff's office family is enduring right now. The deputies, responding deputies that responded out here, the investigators that are here that know these 2 deputies. Our agency has been rocked today. Fortunately, we won't be planning a funeral, regardless of how intended and determined this suspect was to take a deputy's life. We will all say an extra prayer, and I ask all of you to please do the same.